All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Bridget Espinosa. I'm the CEO of Puente Cultural Integration. We are business coaches more than anything else, but in addition to that, we also help to provide access to resources and opportunities for our contracting community, and we support bilingual training. Tenemos un programa de entrenamiento para los contratistas bilingüe para la reducción de plomo. And I want to share a couple of things with everybody really quickly before we get started. And then we will begin with our invited guests. So really quick, I just wanted to introduce that this is going to be a 3-part series. Esto va a ser una serie de 3 charlas. So the first is tonight. The second will be on Wednesday, November 30th. And the third will be on Wednesday, December 7th, all at 6:30 p.m. And we're going to walk you through the paperwork of the process of becoming city certified. In addition to that, we'd like to invite all of you to come to our offices on either Tuesday or Thursday at any point before the end of the year and sit down with us directly. And we will take you step by step through the process of getting your paperwork filled out. So we're going to do as much as we can tonight in walking through the process, and we'll see where we are at the end of the hour. 45 minutes actually is what, we're going to kind of try to shoot to get out of here in about 30 minutes or so, just because we know that it is, it's a Wednesday evening and everyone's got things to do. And then also in addition to that, I would also like to invite everybody to our next networking event, which is Tuesday, November 22nd at 9:30 a.m. at the Alliance Catholic Credit Union. If you had that already on your calendar, we did change the date. It was supposed to be this Thursday and we moved it to next Tuesday. So if you can join us, we hope to see you all there, and it'll give you a chance to meet each other in person and talk a little bit more. Immediately following the cafecito, you're welcome to join us in our offices for additional support. And the girls will be at the office all day tomorrow in order to help people with the paperwork. So with that note, I'd like to introduce you to Sonia Alvarado and Ferris Fakuri from the city of Detroit. Sonia, I'm going to have you introduce yourself first so you can share a little bit about your own experiences and the different roles that you're wearing, and then we'll jump right in with Ferris.
For sure. Thank you so much for all of you coming on today. My name is Sonia Alvarado. I am a lead inspector with the city of Detroit. As one of my main job role right now here is working on actually project managing some of the program grants and actually working in the homes with families and residents. Prior to being with the city of Detroit, I owned my own construction company, did renovations, including lead work in other cities and throughout the state for other contractors, other GCs particularly as a sub. And then I worked for quite a few investors. So I actually worked in homes on properties myself, and then project managed other properties as well for investors. So that's kind of my in this business. I am also kind of side note working with Bridget on creating some funding and ways that we can bridge issues that contractors have when they're brand new coming into the city or into these really big jobs that before would have made it impossible for smaller companies to be able to have access self-funding some of these bigger jobs that actually create wealth, in the long term, but it's really hard to get started. And then, being able to work with those newer contractors so that they don't bomb out before it actually gets started, because there's a lot that has to be done, including paperwork and follow through with the city in order for them to keep their contract. contracts, because getting
You're
Contractors
breaking
one-
up, Sonia.
but Ferris can attest to, and even in the short time that I've been, I'm sorry,
We're breaking up. We were having a hard time.
was I breaking up?
Yeah, you're back now.
I said, I was saying that, okay, I think it was when there. It's just there's a lot of contractors that will, be able to get contracts with the city, but then, it's really difficult. So some of these contractors, as soon as they get on contracts with the city, they're falling off very, very quickly. So my work will be working with Bridget to help, kind of walk people through that process so that they can actually keep their contracts and begin to make enough money and to get the ball rolling so that they can, do this, keep the longevity of their connection with the city, the state, and or the county, in the long run, when you're working in municipal jobs.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sonia. Yeah, I really do want to reiterate that we are here to support you in every way. We've just brought on a new employee with Bianca to support, some of the bookkeeping aspects, and Cynthia is becoming very skilled with all of the application processes. And we're going to be here all along through the entire process to be able to support you. And we have a grant that covers us through December of 2023. So we have a full year where all of our services in relationship to the city contracts, and that is free of charge. After the next year, we'll see what happens if we, are able to renew the grant, or if we, find other sources of funding. But my understanding, after having a really long financial conversation with Sonia, is that right now the city work is, our general contractors are profiting close to 50% of their job, just on average. And so there's money to be made. And the problem is that you're going to have to figure out a way to finance that job for the, 60 to 90 days while you're purchasing the materials, doing the work, paying your guys, and then, waiting, the net 30 or net 45 for your check to come in. So that is a solution we're going to have solved before the end of first quarter. We have a really solid idea about how we want to fix that for y'all. So on that note, Ferris, this is just an introductory conversation. We're going to get down and deeper into everything in our second and third part of the series. But I do want you to obviously introduce yourself more than anything today. And then what I'd like to do is just look at each piece of the puzzle today. And then the next series on the 30th, I'll have you go through the whole application step by step.
Sounds good. Sorry for the little echo. I'm at high school, so I'm kind of watching my 4-year-old son at his wrestling practice while I'm educating you guys on onboarding with the city to hopefully get some work with us. Yeah, so I'll introduce myself. I'll just give a little bit of background. I do have a quick PowerPoint. Maybe it'll help visually about our programs, about the difference in our programs, and the difference in what type of licenses or certifications you have to have between the programs. And this will give you just a quick introductory, because it's sometimes easier to see something than it is just me talk about something and you guys try to process all of it. So before I share it, my name is Ferris Vakori. I'm the Chief Housing Inspector for the City of Detroit Housing and Revitalization Department. It's important to specify the department, because a lot of times with home repair, they just mix all the city departments together, or they confuse us with the land bank or building and safety, or BC, as some of you contractors know. In HRD, there's a lot of divisions within HRD, but the one that Sonia and I work in is the single family home repair programs. We have currently 7 different home repair programs. 6 of them are around lead-based paint, and 1 of them is a senior emergency home repair program that's around trades like roofs, gutters, no heat, sewage lines, hot water tanks, etc. So a little bit about myself. I started in 2018 at Wayne County. managing the lead program there. When I started, we were super behind, like how all grants get started. And in the year and a half I was with Wayne County, we were fortunate to work as a team, get 130 units completed, got out of high risk status and really built a good reputation. That reputation went towards the city of Detroit. I got lucky to meet some folks at a conference, a HUD training conference, and got recruited to the city of Detroit to do the same thing, be a program manager over the lead program. Through some of our audits, there were some findings, there was some compliance stuff out of place. When you do stuff wrong with our federal money, the city is responsible for paying that back. So there was a lot of things going on when I first came on. And with
Oh, shoot. Ferris, you just dropped off. Ah. Joys of technology.
every day.
Yeah, you broke off for like the last minute or so.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so sorry. So I'll just repeat, like with the chief housing tag, I have a very good amount of construction knowledge, not more than you all that do it every day. So, but what makes me special, that I like to tell myself, is that I have a good amount of construction experience, but I also have the experience running the programs. So knowing the regulations, the guidelines, the laws, the ordinances, that kind of make me a little bit of a dual threat. And what my specialty is to help the contractors be put in situations where they can be successful. Same thing with my inspection team, put them in situations where they could be successful. When I started with HRD, a way, which is kind of a bad way, but I understood it, a way that they recruited lead abatement contractors was contractors that were wanting to onboard with our department to do work would have to show up to bid walkthroughs across all programs. And that was their way of saying, you need to get lead certified and become a lead abatement firm to bid on lead jobs and to potentially take on a couple lead jobs a year. And what was happening, what I saw very quickly, was that contractors were getting taken outside of their specialty, and they were not doing good with the lead abatement work, and they're very expensive and large to float. They're extremely labor intensive, so you're dedicating a lot of crews there. And if the work is not right or not being done right, you're being ticketed by the MDHHS enforcement. So I said, hey, we cannot do this to contractors. We're setting them up to fail. So what we did almost 2 years ago, and it's been working out very well, is we split up our contractor lists. So we have one for the lead programs and one for the senior emergency program. So the trade program that does not involve any lead-based paint. You still are required to have a RRP certification because all the houses that we work on are built before 1978. So that's still required across all programs. So our lead abatement firm number went down significantly, but we had the contractors that know how to do it, have the crews in place, can float the projects. We do have contractors, obviously, that float a different number of projects. So we have some contractors that can only take on one job at a time, many that can only do 2 or 3 at a time. And then there's those larger capacities that always have about 8 to 15 floating contracts and moving pretty efficiently throughout the months. So that was one of the significant changes that came about, because I do want to make sure contractors are successful. And if you're a plumber, you have no reason for the city to make you get lead certified to do on lead abatement work. Or, even if you're a general contractor, you may specialize in certain things. So
I think everybody
that's a quick,
on this
introduction.
call, Paris, is either in the process of getting lead certified or is lead certified. So that was because that's mostly our audience right now. So, so just so that you're aware of that. So these are mostly people who are interested in the lead abatement. They may also be interested in the single family home repair though, or the senior emergency repair. All right, so we've got about 15 to 30 minutes or so. Ferris, if you want to share your PowerPoint with us. And you froze. Sonia, he didn't send it to you by any chance, did he? No.
No, he didn't.
All right, Ferris just froze here. So we'll give him a second here to realize that he's frozen, and hopefully he's gone. There he is. You're back.
All right, I apologize. What were you saying, Bridget? Everybody on this call is.
So I
is on
think
their-
pretty much everybody on the call is lead certified or is in the process of getting lead certified. Since that's our primary audience, obviously, over the last couple of years, it's been, one of the programs that we've been focusing on. So, and
Great.
we
Yeah.
have, as far as I'm aware, we've got 1, 2, 3, I think we have four general contractors on the phone as well. So some of the people will be subcontractors and others can handle the work themselves. So,
Great.
do you want to go ahead and share your PowerPoint?
Yes, so thanks for that. So let me,
No problem.
Share
And
my
it might be
screen.
helpful for your connection if you pull off camera, because sometimes
Okay.
it draws too much from you.
okay,
If for some reason you happen to drop off, if you want to just forward us the PowerPoint, that would be great too.
okay. Let me do that first, just in case.
Yeah.
And then Sonia can read the PowerPoint if somebody just pulls it up. Let me do that first real quick.
Just to be on the safe side.
Yep, no problem. Or yeah, I'll share with you guys.
If you want to send it to Jasmine and Sonia, or to me and Sonia,
Doing so now, yeah.
just good for us to have anyway. So while we're waiting for Ferris, I do
Okay.
want to note that I put in the chat, I created a folder with all of the components of the application. We can print those off at our office for you so that you can have them, but if you want to take a look at them, you can download them from that folder directly to take a look at them. And if you are not a licensed builder yet, we can still get you through the process so that you can be a subcontractor. So that is one of the good things, is that there is, you do have the ability to work under a general contractor and act as a sub in your specialty. So if you are a painter or a drywaller or whatever.
I do encourage
Right
that.
ahead.
I do encourage that as well, especially if you're not new, if you're new to lead abatement work, or new to lead abatement work through the city, because the process is timely. I do recommend that if you have a lead certified crew in place and you have lead abatement workers and or supervisors, obviously you have to have at least one supervisor on site. And you want to be utilized as a subcontractor to do work, and you're not holding the name on the contract, so you'll be eligible to negotiate a deposit and get paid quick by the GC, because we don't pay the GC till they pay the subs. I really encourage that, so you can get a taste of what it's like to order materials, start a job, finish a job, get the lead clearance, close out your permit, and see what that closeout process is like under an experienced GC that's been doing it already. So I do encourage that.
100% agree, 100% agree. So I think that's always going to be our first step, especially while they're going through the process of getting certified.
Hey, how you doing?
All right,
So
go ahead
this is-
and explain what this is.
Thanks, Bridget. So I won't get into the weeds with this because it's going to hurt your head, but these are the programs. There's 2 new programs that are not on here. So my math is bad, but it's not that bad. I told you there were 7, but we have a FY18, that's HUD's fiscal year, the year that they awarded it. That's called a citywide lead grant and services all zip codes. The FY19, or what we call, or HUD calls it, as the High Impact Neighborhood Award. And many of you might have seen it in the papers or during the mayor's announcements. This is the high $9.7 million lead grant.
In
That's
48209,
specifically focused in Southwest Detroit. It was correct, 48209, and it just recently expanded to 48210 and 48217.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But not all of it. Yes, so that just happened like a week or two ago. I believe that the mayor or somebody from our, maybe Julie will announce it soon, but it
Okay.
literally just like went through. So
Is
we're looking
it-
for an influx of applications for sure that'll be coming through the pipeline.
How, because originally it was 450 houses. How many more houses?
So the units actually did not change.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So they just
yeah.
expanded it into the other neighborhoods. Okay.
Yes, so I will say this, with longer construction times and with increased construction costs, actually the number of units we told HUD we were gonna do initially is going to decrease. We're
Okay.
actually in the process of negotiating a reduction in units.
Okay.
So, but it's not a reduction in dollars to your contractors, so don't be
Sure,
freaked
sure,
out about that.
Right. Keep us
So
posted on that. So we have that data.
yep, we will. So it does say 24,999 to lead. But it just depends on the house, the size, the number of lead hazards. On average, right now, excuse me, on average, the lead cost is around $31,000 a unit. And that's why, HUD still thinks that doing a full lead abatement. Hold on, buddy. Doing a full lead abatement, they think HUD is average. Sorry,
No worries.
they think that a full lead abatement is still costing very, very cheap. But within the city of Detroit, our lead costs on average are about $32,000 per house. And that
Okay.
involves, window replacements, siding, soffit fascia systems, the doors, the door trims, all that stuff. Porches, all that stuff. 23,800 other, that is non-lead money that is tied to the lead grants. So anything that'll protect our work, so roof replacements, gutters, if a porch, it needs to be rebuilt, there's some non-lead money there. So some of those projects, in the lead grants, that's why they're can be challenging to float if you're a smaller capacity contractor, because with the lead and the non-lead repairs together, those projects usually average somewhere, or range, I should say, range between 35 grand and sometimes 80 to 85 grand. So it's a big range on what those houses cost. The state lead program or the Medicaid funded program is lead only. On average, the lead cost is pretty similar. It's somewhere around $32,000 to $35,000.
Okay.
The senior emergency program is 15,000. That's the trade program. Lately, we've been floating between 18 and 21,000. But the program, quote unquote, cap is 15,000. The 0% home repair loan program, the reason why it says lead in anything is because it's a $5,000 to $25,000 loan. And if the loan amount exceeds $10,000, federal guidelines trigger and lead-based paint needs to be addressed. The two new programs we just got awarded. One is a Healthy Homes Production Grant that's going to be funding lead-based paint in the 0% loan program, which is very beneficial to the residents or the program participants in the loan program, because instead of the lead eating up their loan and not leaving any amount of money for them to do any health and safety improvements or any facade or equity improvements in their house in terms of repair or replacement, the Healthy Homes Production Grant will help fund the lead hazards, which will free up more space in their loan to get work done that they need or want done. Also, the FY18 grant that I just talked about, the period of performance is ending in September of next year. So we actually stopped taking applications for that program, but we did get awarded a new lead grant for another 4 years that the period of performance starts December 1st. So we're going to be very fortunate to overlap the ending of this grant with the start of the new grant, so we can keep our contractors moving and keep residents applying. Because sometimes when you have a gap, the contractors look for work elsewhere. Residents, your pipeline starts to kind of fizzle. People take the construction into their own hands. And sometimes it can, when you have a 6 or 8 month gap to when you get new funding, it kind of can hurt your programs pretty badly. The type of non-lead repairs that we do, if there's no water, we do repiping, hot water tanks. We do a ton of furnace and boilers. We do a ton of sewer line replacements. We need more plumbers and contractors that can do that. We're kind of very limited to the same 2 or 3 people that are being used. Major electrical hazards. We do a ton of roof and gutters. We do some structural work, but we don't do major structural work. We do a ton of windows and doors through all programs. Accessibility needs are eligible repairs, but we don't do too much of that, surprisingly. And then porches, we do a ton of masonry and carpentry porches, which obviously, as you know, masonry and flat work are kind of taking a pause right now. This is just a quick, I won't go through this, but just I'll share the slides with Bridget afterwards if you want to take a look at this. But just to give you the dollar amounts for each program that are being projected to be spent. Honestly, we spend a ton of money every year. I think last year we spent somewhere around 14 or $15 million. We did about 370 units in single family. This year we're on pace to spend just as much money. And we're on pace to the same, about 350 to 370 units completed across all programs. So that's where our current capacity is, and that's where our contractors are taking us numbers wise.
Great.
This is just old numbers, but I will say there's a ton of work. We've got 250 contracts out there right now, valued amount of 7.2 million. There's always completions happening. There's always new contracts being signed. So that number of 200 contracts is always kind of staying the same. Our contracts flow from 180 to 220, always open contracts at a time. There's a high volume of units that we do across our single family programs. So that's pretty much it. That's just a quick, just very quick overview of our programs, the dollar amounts. I do have the application, Bridget, but if you want to stop and take questions, or
Yeah, I want to try to wrap up pretty quickly in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So
Sure.
what I'd like to do really quick is just introduce each part of the application. So I'm gonna,
Sure.
I can share my screen in regards to that. So let me just get back to the chat here and all right. So there's a whole process here in filling out this application to be part of the lead abatement program or to be a general contractor on any of these other things. And so you're going to have to go through this whole application and fill it out. Again, we can support every step of the way. But the application is not complex, but you need to have all of these things. So in order to be a licensed certified contractor with the city of Detroit, you must have your state of Michigan residential builder's license. You need to register with BSeed. They need to see your last 2 years of tax returns. You need to have your certificate of insurance and show that you've got your workers' comp, your comprehensive general liability insurance, your automotive liability insurance. And then if you are doing lead, there is an additional insurance that you need to have, but you don't need to have it paid for or acquired until after you've actually begun. You've gotten the contract and you know when your start date is. Hi, Maurice. Nice. Glad you were able to join us. We're wrapping up here in the next 5 or 10 minutes. And then there's an additional errors and omissions for environmental and pollution liability.
Hey, Bridget.
Yes.
I'll just cut you off here and there. So the state of Michigan license, builder's license, just we tried it once and it was a bad experience. The builder's license needs to be in your company name. There was a company recently that registered. And then they said, well, I'm using somebody else's builder's license to pull permits on my projects. We like, you know what, to give it a shot, let's see how it goes. She's still on our list and she does good work, but I don't think our department is willing to make this a habit. So it needs to be in your company name. It needs to be yours, the owner. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. And I think that's the people that we're working with. That is the way that's currently the people that we're working with are those that are, have their own builder's license.
Thank you.
And so then you need to have, there's some, these are all forms here. So everything here, you need to have your form for your, lead abatement, if that's what you're going into. You've got to have an income tax clearance request. There's a statement of political contributions that you have to sign off on, et cetera, et cetera. So we can walk you through each component of that. But the other thing that I think is really important, that I really appreciate. So Darius, I want to thank you for this. And that is that they were willing to open up their pricing sheets to us. And so we have what each individual item is, what they're willing to pay per square foot. So first, this is a perfect example, just for carpeting, they're willing to, pay $3.50.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure who, Bridget, I don't mean to interrupt. Somebody's got their microphone off and we can hear everything. It's really hard to hear the rest of us what's going on. I'm not sure who's got microphones on. Just make sure that everybody's muted besides Bridget and Ferris, please.
Yeah, I think it might be somebody who just joined us. All right, fantastic. Yeah, thanks everybody. Okay.
Thank you.
So these are all in the folder. So if you are on a computer right now and you can grab the folder that I put in the chat. All of these documents are here ready for you to take a look at. So you can take a look at the pricing guides and all of the different forms that you have to do. But honestly, my recommendation is that you make an appointment to come in, or you can even just drop into our offices on Tuesdays or Thursdays, and we'll walk you through the whole process. So you can either do by appointment on Zoom, or you can drop into the office. In addition to that, that next week being Thanksgiving, we are not going to be meeting next week, but on the 30th and then again on the 7th, we are going to walk through every step of the application with you. So if you can download it, have it on your computer, or have it printed out, you can come over to the office. We can make a copy for you. And then we will, you can, while we're in the meeting on the 30th on the 7th, you can finish any other piece that you have left over. And it's not required that you attend all 3 meetings. If you would like to attend it and do it that way, that is one way to do it. The other way is just to come in and meet with us directly. So I'd like to open this up to questions at this point. I want to make sure that we're wrapped up by 7:30. If anybody wants to pop off, feel free. Ferris, do you have anything else, or Sonia, do you have anything else that you'd like to say on the recording before we turn off the recording?
I just got a couple things. So myself and Sonia were available, Monday through Friday, pretty much 8 to 5. I'm as a chief and the sole supervisor. I just had my second supervisor leave recently, so I answer from 8 a.m. to like 10 p.m. Just don't call me after that. Let me sleep. So I'm available for any questions, emails, calls, feel free. I'll also share with Bridget and Yasmin, my administrative assistant that's taking on and helping out contractor recruitment. She's on the 9th floor, suite 908 at the Coleman A. Young building, and she's available. She's there 3 days a week to help you print, scan, and also walk you through any documents that you need as she's being trained on this. I will also train Sonia on the application process. If there's any Spanish speaking contractors that need, that language assistance, Sonia will be getting trained in the next week or so as well. I will say this, that the SAM.gov, when we meet next time, I will have a contractor on to show you how to register with SAM.gov. This is the most time consuming thing. I would just encourage you guys to get started on that immediately, because it could take about a month or 2, and we cannot give you any contracts without you being registered in SAM.gov to receive federal money. So I think that's my few quick pieces there.
Thank you. Y para que todos que hablan español, estamos aquí también para ayudarles. Sonia habla muy bien el español, obviamente Yasmin y Bianca también. Entonces aquí estamos para ayudarles con cualquier cosa. Sonia, did you have anything? Jonathan's got his hand raised, so I know he's got a question, but I don't know if you have anything else that you want to add before we stop the recording.
No, nothing that I've got particularly. It's as we're going to get through this, and I really just am looking forward to working with everyone that's on, and getting you through this process as smoothly and as quickly as possible.
Fantastic. All right, Jasmine, I'm going to ask you to stop the recording at this time.